Hello everyone, welcome to Comparative Geopolitics. Today I'm going to bother your conscience with a very important topic, the concept of colonial tax by France. I want to begin my presentation with a question, a rhetorical question. And I want my viewers to listen to this question carefully. Do you think it is right for me to colonize you, enslave you, and then ask you to pay me tax for colonizing you? Answer this question in your mind. That is exactly what France is doing to the 14 African countries colonized by France. Guinea is one of those countries. Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, Togo, Benin Republic, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Equatorial Guinea, Congo, and a host of others, including Mali. All the 14 African countries colonized by France are paying colonial tax to France. I'm going to give you the terms and some of the terms and conditions of the colonial tax. Number one, that 85% of the foreign reserve of those 14 countries must be kept in the French treasury. So the implication of that first condition is that as a country, you generate your income, then you don't have your own central bank. You are not allowed to have your own central bank. So you have to deposit that foreign reserve in France to be managed by the French central bank. That is the first condition. And as I speak today, France is holding nothing less than $500 billion of the foreign reserve of 14 African countries. Go there and see the level of poverty. France has the right, as part of the terms and conditions, to automatically confiscate this foreign reserve owned by these African countries should they do anything that France considered dangerous to French interest. Another condition is that if there is any natural resources discovered in any of these countries, France has the first right of refusal. What that means is that France will have to see that natural resources and decide not to have anything to do with it before other countries can have access to it. You see that? And in matters of defense, military, only France reserves the right to train the military of these 14 African countries. And in terms of military equipment, it is only France that can supply military equipment to these countries. That's another condition. Also, if there is global crisis, let's say war, for example, those 14 African countries could only align with France to defend French interests. And France can invade these countries to intervene if French interest is at stake. So the terms and conditions, if you study the terms and conditions of this agreement, you look at French people and you say, these are not human beings. They have no conscience. But the irony is that France is a member of the European Union. France prints currency for these 14 African countries, the CFA franc. which is pegged to euro. And these are the people who leave their comfort zone to go to Africa and preach democracy to them, teach them about human rights, talk about human rights. So when I see people in churches in Africa and in the mosque praying against a certain enemy, I look at them, I shake my head, I say, no, 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 no. Your next door neighbor is not your enemy. That is not the real enemy. The person that is keeping you poor is somewhere else. That's the real enemy. Because they created the system that is keeping Africa low. So, these are the issues. I'm going to show you a clip of the Italian Prime Minister lambasting Emmanuel Macron. Remember, I told you in one of my videos that when these Westerners, these Europeans, when they quarrel and in their unguarded moment, you hear the truth from them. Macron insulted the Italian Prime Minister, and then she responded. So I'm going to show you the clip now. Take a listen.
Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron ci ha definiti vomitevoli, cinici, irresponsabili. E qui la stampa italiana a dire, hai visto che ha detto Macron, che siamo irresponsabili. Vergogna. Irresponsabile Emmanuel Macron sono quelli che hanno bombardato la Libia perché gli dava fastidio che l'Italia avesse un rapporto privilegiato in campo energetico con Gheddafi, esponendoci al caos migrazione nel quale ci troviamo. Cinici Emmanuel Macron sono i francesi che mandano la gendarmerie a rispedire indietro qualunque immigrato tenti di passare il confine a Ventimiglia. Ma soprattutto, perché le cose vanno raccontate come si deve, vomitevole è chi... Buono, che lo vuoi tu? Ci hai mai tolto il pathos? Vomitevole è chi, come la Francia, continua a sfruttare l'Africa stampando moneta per 14 nazioni africane sulle quali applica il signoraggio, facendo lavorare bambini nelle miniere, estraendo materie prime come accade in Niger, dove la Francia estrae il 30% dell'uranio che gli serve a far camminare le centrali nucleari e il 90% dei nigerini vive senza elettricità. Non ci venire a fare lezioni, Macron, perché l'Africa scappa da voi e la soluzione non è spostare gli africani in Europa, è liberare l'Africa da certi europei. Non accettiamo lezioni. Chiaro?
Have you seen that? So when the man in the mosque in Burkina Faso or in Niger is killing himself, hating on his brothers and sisters who don't practice Islam, do you think it's normal? Do you think that person is normal? He doesn't know his enemy. And the worst is that these Islamic radicals, they accept money and weapons from the same person that is keeping them low to even tear down the little that they've been able to build over the years. Is that not painful? Don't you think Africans are getting it wrong with the way they practice their religion, killing themselves when the actual enemy is somewhere else? Let me tell you something. There was a statement by one of the former French presidents, Jacques Chirac. Jacques Chirac was of the view that he said that without Africa, France will become a third world country. I'm just paraphrasing. And the person who took over from Jacques Chirac in the person of Francois Mitterrand, he said that without Africa, France will have no history in the 21st century. And you wonder why there are so many wars going on in the Sahel region. Those countries that are trying to separate themselves from France. The countries in the Sahel region trying to decolonize themselves. France is bombarding them on a daily basis. Mali is under intense attack. Niger Republic, the same thing. Burkina Faso, terrorism, the same thing. Recently, Benin Republic had a president who decided to unite with his brothers and sisters in the Sahel. There was a terrorist attack in Benin Republic. You've not heard of that before. But immediately this new guy came in and said, no, these are my brothers in the Sahel. I have to be on good terms with them. Terrorist attack. So we have a situation in Africa that is very serious. And Africans must look inward. Examine their environment critically and then identify the real enemy. Your enemy is not that your brother who believes differently from you. Your enemy is the person who has created a system that is meant to keep you in perpetual poverty. When at independence, when the president of Guinea, in the person of Sékou Touré, in 1958, told the French government that, look, we prefer dignity in poverty to slavery in opulence. The French government said, oh, this is a bad person because he asked for independence from the French system. Sékou Touré didn't want to have anything to do with France. In 1958, what happened? All the infrastructures that the French colonial regime put in place in Guinea, they brought down everything. The French government brought down everything, including the sewage system, the drainage system. They had to mix concrete, cement, and then put it, blocking the entire drainages. That was how bad it is. And the French government did that to send a message to other African colonies. If you follow the example of Guinea, the same fate awaits you. So, my brothers and sisters, those of you in the Sahel region, and the Muslims all over Africa, your prayer that you continue to kill your brothers and sisters who believe differently. And even the Christians too. Those people, your next door neighbor that you consider to be your enemy, that person is not the individual who is keeping you poor. If you think like that, then you have what we call poverty of ideation. You are not thinking properly. All the systems that we relate with as Africans, they were designed specifically by the colonizers to keep us low. Your worst enemy should be the IMF, the World Bank. Those are your enemies. Those institutions were not built to uplift Africa. France has a very dangerous colonial tax system, printing money for the former colonies. You have to keep your foreign reserve in a foreign country. And when you decide to take that money out, a member of parliament of that foreign country could veto it and say, no, your behavior of recent has not been good, so we are not giving you money. Your own money, you have to even take it out as loan. You have to pay again. That's a very dangerous system. And I look at all these things when they come to Africa to pontificate and try to moralize Africans. I laugh. I say, France shouldn't even be talking about democracy at all. these people shouldn't even be talking about God. When they brought religion, I laugh. When people tell me about Christianity, I laugh. Because if I were a slave in those days, if you tell me, if the colonizers say to me that they are going to heaven, I'm going to tell them point blank, Mr. Man, if you go to heaven, then I don't want to go there. Because that heaven you are going is not a good heaven. You are not treating me right here on earth, and you tell me about heaven. So I don't want to prolong this video. You have seen for yourself. The Colonial Tax Agreement is the reason France is fighting those countries in the Sahel region, because France doesn't want that to end. About 500 billion US dollar of the foreign reserve of those 14 African countries is in France. So France, like a dangerous parasite, relies on Africa for survival. That is the reason for the war in the former French colonies and other parts of Africa. So the people of Kenya, I want to also use this opportunity to tell you that you should be worried. The president is getting too close to France. France has a dark historical past, and it's not ready to change. They will never change. So that is it for my viewers, and I will see you again in my next video. Thank you very much. Share this video with friends and family members. Thank you.